And down here, the bottom right-hand corner of Antiga Shipyard, we have our teal. Hey, he switched colors on me. Hawk had been red up till this point. So be. There we go. Our teal Zerg player winner of the last 3 games in a row. It is Quantic Gaming's Hawk. And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, the final player remaining for Karont3 Esports Club, it is Alistor.
Indeed. So, both players, the first thing to talk about is both players are making drones, right? No early pools for either one of them. They do know where the spawns are. This is cross positions only on this map. So
that's right.
It's not like it's a big mystery here. It's almost a 2-player map in that sense in this sort of situation. And will we see these players go for possibly a earlier gas before pool? Some speedlings early on. Will we maybe see hatch first? There's a lot of choices early in the game in ZVZ, and depending on what you choose, you'll find yourself either at a little bit of an advantage or a little bit of a disadvantage. There's not a big difference either way, but your opening in ZVZ does have an impact in the early stages of the game. I think a little bit more than the other mirror matchups to a certain extent. PvP is close, but I really feel like ZVZ, the openings, the first 2 minutes of the game, are very, very important.
All right. Well, we'll see what both these players end up doing now. If they're going to throw down spawning pools, it would happen the second. And it looks like both are going to go for a hatch first. Right. So a little bit longer ZVZ on our hands. Can't say that I am disappointed. This is certainly, I like macro ZVZs. I like when they get to that stage where we have well-developed late-game compositions.
I just like ZVZ in general. I just like mirror matchups.
I know you do.
They're fun. It's interesting to see. And gas immediately from Alistor as well. So that means that he is probably going to have Zergling speed a little bit faster than his opponent. A little bit quicker here. He wants to be able to start that speed as soon as the spawning pool finishes. That's kind of the timing that you end up seeing, whereas we have the pool and the gas going down at the same time for Hawk. So this isn't going to really give that huge of an advantage to Alistor. If you get your speed way before your opponent, then you can suddenly do all sorts of fun stuff like run past them, pick off drones, do damage to their spawning pool, their hatchery, maybe kill a queen or something like that. But as these two builds are kind of lining up, it's not really going to give a big edge to either player.
And yeah, so we can see both those hatcheries about 80% of the way complete. Those speedy overlords zooming in there 25% faster than they would have before, which actually makes a big difference. You can think this one rolled in at 210 seconds. I would have taken 230, or basically the 4-minute mark before it ever sat there. And with that being said, Alistor has been able to see exactly what his opponent was up to because of that increased speed.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if you can even call them slow overlords anymore.
I know.
They're kind of like
speedy overlords.
Well, they're not fast per se. They're kind of medium speed. They're more like reasonable overlords.
Reasonable overlords?
Speed overlords. That's right. They don't want to go too crazy. They're not like speed racer overlords. They travel at a safe and reasonable speed.
Yeah.
That's right.
So more like the Mach 0.5 rather than the Mach 5?
More like the Mach 2.
Okay.
I don't know. Baneling Nest on the way for Alistor.
That's right.
Don't think there's one going up for Hawk.
There's not.
He is still getting gas, though, so there probably will be one soon. If you go hatch first, not getting the Baneling Nest is a big, big risk. So if he doesn't get that, if he decides to do something like roaches instead, he's going to be kind of gambling a little bit.
Yes, he is. Yep. And as we can see now that he only has 2 workers on gas. So sometimes you'll see just 1, and that leaves him the opportunity to go to roaches pretty early on. Sometimes you'll see 3, and then, of course, like we saw Alistor do, and then you make a ton of lings and all-out attack your opponent, which, by the way, it's a lot of lings coming at him right now, and he has a fair bit of gas saved up.
Yeah, Hawk's got a lot of lings coming out himself as well. But, yeah, this gas being saved up is a bit of a mystery for Hawk. He's not getting a Baneling Nest. He's not getting a Roach Warren. He's not getting a Lair.
Yeah.
So what is he doing? I mean, this is kind of weird for Hawk. He's kind of freaking me out a little bit here, man, because
he
doesn't have any spine crawlers either.
Oh, but he is going to be able to take out the Banelings before they're able to morph in. One last Baneling remaining, and it goes down just before it morphs in. So Alistor trying to bring in anything else. He does pick off the Queen, though, but Hawk has gained himself a pretty big advantage in terms of just sheer Zergling numbers here, and he is up by 5 workers in addition to that.
I am 99% sure that Hawk forgot his Baneling.
Yes.
I think I'm nearly sure, because a lot of times if you go hatch first and you're planning on using some banelings, you'll leave 2 guys on gas because you'll have enough for banelings, but you're not totally committed to gas, so you can still drone up and make lings a decent amount too.
Right.
But yeah, I think he definitely forgot it. So now he's like, oh, I need my baneling nest as soon as zurgly possible.
Yep.
And he does have a lot of lings, though. In fact, he's going to win this fight in the middle of the map, it looks like.
Yeah, I do think you're correct.
Well, not anymore,
I think he could have, yeah, if he would have kept everything together.
Close.
Definitely. And it looks like he wants to fall back on a more defensive position here back at home. He has that queen up as well. Banelings are slowly rolling out for Alistar, but they're not there in this engagement. Hawk was able to secure himself the better fight there.
Yeah, for sure. So Hawk a little bit ahead on supply, too. I bet if we look at the drone count, that might be a little bit higher. Yeah, 22 to 19. Alistar focusing a lot on trying to do early damage, and he really hasn't done any yet.
Well, yeah, and Hawk continues to pick off Zergling by Zergling as he advances across the map. There's finally his first Baneling, so he's going to make up. Yeah, he's going to make up for the ones he didn't produce before by producing a whole bunch at once.
It's going to get scouted. Oh, man, he does see it here. The Banelings, though, they should finish in time.
Yeah, it looks like they will, so here they go. Is Hawk going to roll in? Is he going to be able to get the engagement he wants?
Oh, this is such a crazy engagement, man. You almost never see anything like this in the middle of the map for ZVZ.
No kidding.
Hawk, though, definitely has the ability to push his opponent around right now. All he needs to do is morph in a couple defensive Banelings at home, and he should be fine. Oh, but here comes for Alistar.
Oh, he's got to start taking this back. That was actually, even though he lost 3 Banelings to 2, that was a good decision by Hawk to make sure that he wasn't going to lose all of them.
Oh, man, Hawk really, really pushing that drone advantage right now. He's able to produce a lot more than Alistar can at this particular second in time, and that's a lot of Banelings coming in. Banelings not quite done yet. Oh, he kills a lot before they finish, but only 2 left. It looks like Hawk only has lings where Alistar, will have 2 Banelings.
That's right.
Still very, very close here. The supply is still a little bit favored in terms of Hawk right now.
Yep, that's right.
Of course, the camera followed the automaton instead of the Zerglings.
I noticed that.
Don't you love that?
Thank you so much. Yeah,
that's great.
I mean, automaton's cool. Don't get me wrong, but
he is.
That's
the game thinks he's awesome.
I want to watch the Zerglings.
Me too. Oh, this is dangerous for Hawk.
Yes, it is.
Dangerous for Hawk. I feel like he should just kind of run around and go for the main.
Oh, man. He is being so risky with these, but he does continue to manage to pick off Zergling after Zergling, running around every corner of this middle ground here.
Yeah.
This is really good control out of Hawk. Alistar, though, does have the presence of those Banelings. One big hit, and this would completely turn around. Yeah, that's enough to send Hawk back home for the time being. No defensive Banelings up for him, though, at all. Finally starting to morph some in.
Getting a couple now. And he's also getting the spine crawler. A quine is a combination of a queen and a spine crawler, apparently.
That's terrifying.
I know, seriously. But he's also been able to drone a little bit behind this, too. So he's going to take that lead even farther. Now, on the other side of things, Alistar going for his lair fairly quickly here, and all 4 gases. So will we possibly see Mutalisk from Alistar? I'd say it's a pretty likely possibility, unless he throws on a Roach Warren in the very near future. Despite
the very entertaining beginning of this game, it looks like we're about to the point where we're going to start stabilizing, and people are going to start heading for higher tech choices and things like that. Oh! Okay, wait, okay, so that
didn't turn out too bad.
Yeah, so Hawk actually ended up losing about 7 Zerglings and 2 Banelings, but he killed 4 Banelings of his opponent, so it was pretty even trade.
Hawk needs to be very careful here with this attack, because he doesn't want to spend the gas on any more Banelings back at his base, right? So that's why we're seeing him be a little bit hesitant here, because he's trying to save up for that Spire, most likely. He's trying to save up for his higher tech, and he doesn't really want to make any more Banelings. He went home, and now he's going to have to defend this attack coming in from Alistar.
Yes, he is. And so Hawk just finishing up his 4th gas. Now his own layer tech is about ready to end, and there we go. Spire is coming out for Alistar.
Yep. And so he will potentially have Mutalisks out a little bit quicker than Hawk will, but Hawk, if he gets a Spire immediately, will probably be able to get the Mutas in time for them to be there when his opponent attacks, but there's a fast 3rd base for Hawk, which is almost certainly going to need to get canceled.
Yeah, it looks like it does, and Hawk trying to run around the side. Oh, just picking off 1 Baneling at a time. Very well done there. Oh, wow, gets 3 of them very quickly, so now has to watch out for those. Loses a few more Zerglings to that one. That was a bit unfortunate, but he does get the first 3 very cost-effectively.
Yeah, it's the big danger when you're not looking at your Zerglings, you're macroing, you're injecting or something, you come back and like half of them are starting to run towards that Baneling. You're like, no! But Hawk handled it very, very well. He's getting his own Spire much later than Alistar, unfortunately, here. He's trying to keep Alistar kind of distracted out around the map, but we'll see what happens. Alistar is starting to look okay in this game, despite being a little bit down on supply.
Yeah, that's right. And he has so much more gas as well. He's going to be able to put out quite a few mutas very early on. And whoa! Baneling almost baiting those units in.
What is it about Banelings that compel people to go, I don't know, you just have to do it. It just comes
though.
out.
Explosions, man.
Yeah,
explosions.
You can't, I mean, I don't know. You can't not make that sound.
All right, well, Banelings do get picked off there. Oh, in this Hawk, there it is again. So it's just like, oh God, Banelings.
Banelings.
It was like a combination of Monty Python Woman and Banelings.
I guess so.
Hmm.
And
anyway.
This could, probably be canceled too as well, especially once the Banelings of Hawk show up.
Yeah, it looks like, but he does see the mutas overhead. One Baneling does take out a number of Zerglings there, so he still will be able to get the cancel, but now he's got to start making some mutas of his own. He can make about 11 of those right now if he wants. Yeah. There they go.
And I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, to not see Hawk running into the base of his opponent. He would, I would think, want to keep his mutas away from his base while he makes his own, so we'll see how it goes. As things stand, Alistar is probably not going to get there anyway, as Muta's still chasing the Zerglings around just a little bit. Oh, I like the idea to go for +1 carapace by Hawk. That is actually going to end up benefiting him, I believe, a little bit better when we talk about economy in ZVZ with Muta versus Muta.
All right, well, a few Zerglings actually cycling through now, trying to pick off a couple of drones, but the Muta pack is pretty well developed for Hawk as well, so a little bit of Muta on Muta action. Yeah, and let's actually take a look at the numbers here. 10 mutas to 8 for the time being, but with the inclusion of the Queen, looks like Alistar has to start running his way out of there.
Well, Hawk did something very subtly good, too. I mean, if you're ever in a Muta versus Muta situation in ZVZ, you want to have your mutas spread out as much as possible, and he did take time to do that before engaging, and it really paid off. He was able to get the edge in that advantage, and that's all you really need. I mean, you get that advantage once with Muta versus Muta, and that goes a long way.
Yeah. And so we see here now, it's 13 mutas to 10 at the moment. The upgrades are pretty much at the same time. It looks like the attack slightly ahead for Alistar. Both players are continuing to take control of their side of the map by picking off Overlords for now. And actually, Hawk overmade his Overlords. That's actually pretty good for him because he has now supply blocked his opponent.
Yeah, you definitely want to do that too. If you see your opponent going mutas, you want to make a couple extra Overlords because you know you're going to lose some, definitely. This is rare. You don't often see Muta versus Muta. This is like straight up Brood War style, man. I mean, it's Mutaling versus Mutaling. I don't know. I really need to find the numbers for +1 air attack versus +1 carapace. I have this feeling that +1 carapace is going to be better. I think that's probably right, but I honestly don't know. If you know for a fact, definitely don't hesitate to tweet at me GhostSudo on Twitter. Tweet at Kevin Naki as well and let us know. Because I would be curious about that. Well, it's not a situation you run into a whole lot.
No, not really, but we'll see who's actually going to end up winning here. So mutas versus mutas. We'll take a look at all of them here, as looks like Hawk's side is pretty resilient. Now, he is losing the war on the ground, and he's starting to be turned back in the air as well. So Hawk has to pull back. He finally starts reinforcing with a few more ground forces, but loses a lot of them to that Baneling.
Yeah, in Muta versus Muta, when it gets to this point, it's really the speedling counterattacks that really determine a lot of the game. If you can run your speedlings in, kill off some drones, reduce the amount of units your opponent can create, you're really going to be in a great position here. And so far, Hawk really hasn't been able to do that. Neither has Alistar. He is still continuing to gain in supply, though. +2 attacks now coming up for Alistar, though. That's going to make a difference as well. But I feel like Hawk going for so many speedlings is going to be really nice. He's going to be able to start doing those counterattacks, which is really going to kind of get him the edge in this game.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at things. Looks like Hawk is up by 8 workers. They're basically tied on Zerglings at the moment. He has a small advantage in mutas, and it's +2 attacks coming versus the +1 attacks of Hawk. So his upgrade is going to hit 30 seconds faster than his opponent, which means he'll have that big of a timing where he actually does have the better upgrades. But it looks like he's going to try and push it right now. This Baneling is about to pop, though, and that could kill a lot of Zerglings. Actually hasn't done that much damage yet because Hawk is losing the war on the ground, but he is starting to he drew even in the air, but had a slight advantage to the air maybe, but not with that Queen there.
I think he did. I think he maybe could have stayed and stuck that out. Probably a good idea not to, just because you will have reinforcements from your opponent. But man, ZVZ Muta is so hilarious because it just kind of goes on and on like this. It's actually, to a certain extent, it's a little bit like fast-moving Marine tank TVT because it's one of those situations where one bad engagement can totally change the result of a game, right?
Right.
And it's the same way in Mutaling ZVZ too. So both players always are a little bit hesitant about fully committing to an engagement, but I like this by Hawk, flying in, trying to pick off a little bit of what he can. If he can get that queen, that would be great, but nope, he's going to be content with just a drone or two. Yeah,
there are a few things to note as well, as Hawk unfortunately not going to be able to break his way through with that Zergling counterattack. He is teching up to 2 Infestors at the moment. In addition, as we can see, he has a massive advantage in queens. Actually, his opponent only had 3 for a second there, so if he had been able to pick one off, he would have hampered his opponent's injects quite a bit. So as it stands now, 20 mutas to 20 mutas. Of course, the upgrade going to finish up for Hawk, like I mentioned. It's going to end up being about 20 seconds faster.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty even, too, when it comes down to the upgrades. It's going to be 1-1 versus 0-2, right? So the +2 attack is going to be more or less, I believe, negated by the +1 armor. And then you're going to have +1 attack against +0. So it's going to be about the same. These Infestors, though, could play a huge role. If he gets a good fungal on the Hawks of Alistar, the game will just simply be over at this point.
Oh, here comes Hawk. He actually has a pretty good engage. He's going to win the ground war outright, and now has the Spore Crawler plus the 2 queens overhead, and he is starting to whittle down the numbers of his opponent. Alistar, he takes a huge loss there. He's down in Mutalisks. He's still down in queens, and really, I mean, those static defenses plus the queens really turned the tide there for Hawk. He now has a 30 supply advantage.
Yeah, it was a tense moment there for both Zerg players, but I think Hawk kind of came out of that a little bit ahead. Ooh, getting the queen too. That'll be nice, but he has to be careful not to get a little bit too over-aggressive. He wants to wait until those Infestors hit the field to really start to move out and be aggressive against his opponent here. Oh, bad rally means free Overlords.
Yeah.
That doesn't really help Alistar's cause at all. There's another one's like, nope, I don't want to be like those guys.
So he starts trudging his way back home.
Oh, no.
I'm out of here. Slightly higher pitch now. They're faster. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
All right.
That just sounds odd.
That just sounded like Mr. Bill. I don't know.
A little bit. Oh, the Infestors are here.
Let's see, as they do have enough for fungal growth, of course. A few more starting to rally their way up as well. He does fungal catch the few units. He doesn't catch any of the air units, though. We'll see if he's able to catch them the next go-around.
Yeah, I would not recommend using fungals on lings in this case. You want to save those for the mutas. You've got the banelings and the zerglings yourself to handle this kind of thing. But Hawk definitely a bit threatening here. Is 40 supply ahead, but it's a very volatile matchup.
His fungal does catch two Mutalisks, though, so he's able to pick those off going into the engagement. That does give him a 3 Mutalisk advantage overall.
Oh, wow. Well, that does help a little bit. He caught quite a few zerglings with that one, I guess. He's got enough Infestors, too, that he can use some of his fungals on lings in this case. This is so wild, though. I don't think I've ever casted a ZVZ that's gotten to this point. It is pretty
ridiculous. So now these Mutalisks are so good at just softening things up as well. Yeah. Spine Crawlers are getting very low in health. There's another one forming off to the right-hand side as well, but there's not much that Alistar can do about this. Not until those Infestors pop up, which is still another 12 seconds off.
Yeah, man, he's got Infestors on the way, though. So if Hawk wants to do something, I think now is going to be the time. Alistar trying to maybe break off and do some damage, but getting fungled and pulling back. And Hawk, will he see? Will he see the Infestors? Oh, no, getting everything fungled.
He does get a lot of those fungled. Oh, but he fungles his opponent's Infestors as well, now trying to make his way through the few of his ground units. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Muta count. It is 5 to 5 apiece between these two players. The Infestor count, though, is 12 to 8 in advantage of Hawk. He did waste a little bit more energy, though, so it's really going to come down to control from here on out.
40 supply ahead for Vilehawk. Make that 50 supply, and I think he might barely be able to take this game if he has enough fungals to handle the mutas, enough infested Terrans as well, but
yeah, there it goes.
This is insane.
That is ridiculous. Okay,
I think he's got enough. Here come the roaches. That should be the death knell possibly for Alistar.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those Infestors so low in energy now. If he catches, though, just misses. Almost got a bunch of those. Does not, though, but the Infestor count still continuing to go down.
Infested Terran versus Infested Terran.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is pretty crazy, but the Infestors are all dying. 133 to 78 supply. I think Hawk might be able to wrap up this game right here.
Wow, incredibly well done on his part as well,
so
especially he was so much later to those Mutalisks, but was able to overcome the advantage. There's GG. Hawk has just killed 4 members in a row. He puts Quantic through into winners round 2. Congratulations to him.